Hello and welcome to This is What the Gospel Sounds Like, a K-pop Demon Hunters fan place to talk theology and think about some of these songs and characters and what they remind us about Scripture and the good news that we have in Jesus, the light of the world. My name's Sarah Crowder. I'm a teacher in Faith Lutheran. I teach Bible class for ninth graders. And with me, we have Andy Jones. Andy, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Andy Jones. I'm a pastor in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a writer, author, etc. And I am so ready to talk today about one of the most popular songs in the entire world right now. And that song is Golden. Perhaps you've heard it.
Golden. And I gotta say, this summer I was very fortunate to be in Korea when all of this was exploding. Although a little unfortunate because there wasn't any merch to be seen, although Korean culture has a lot of these things in it. And there are a lot of stairs all over Korea. And so I would just pop in my AirPods and we're going up, up. And it's a perfect workout song because it's got enough like breathing room too, where you can be like, okay, I'm going to catch my breath. And then we're going up, up, up. And didn't you say your preschool has been playing this? Is this a popular kid song at your church?
For sure. Our preschool has like a dance party every Friday, and they've been playing Golden all summer long. So now I actually know the song and I can, sing along when it starts up. But yeah, good stuff.
Well, and this song comes right at the beginning of the movie, and it's pretty cool because it's a music video within the movie. And so I thought that was a really cute way of doing it, because I'm a person who loves to make music videos. I don't know if you know this about me, but I love to create music videos. In fact,
I did not know that.
In a previous career, I was doing cinematography, and I actually created some anime music videos of. Did you ever play Zelda, Legend of Zelda, with the ocarina?
Yes. I've played
Have you ever
Zelda
seen some cosplay characters playing ocarina music on YouTube? Some of those are my videos that I made for STL Ocarina. So like, I love that part of the movie, that it's like this music video and it's like exciting of this song, but then this kind of deeper level between. But before we get into the golden lyrics, visually, there's something that I think is really neat. So I watched the whole movie on the train, and then we watched it on our last day in Japan, and then we went to Korea. And then in Korea, we had a tour in Seoul of some of the palaces. And I was freaking out because the very opening scene, we see Rumi as a queen, right? When she unveils herself. Well, guess what? This is a very common cultural practice. The painting that's behind Golden and the throne, this is essential Korean kind of culture pieces. I'm not going to use any Korean because I don't want to mispronounce it, but I got to go and visit, like I said, I got some hotel here, the National Museum of Korea. They had been posting some like facts on their Instagram. And so I went to the museum, and all over the museum, they have some derpy tigers is part of their culture. Like this kind of goofy tiger is a total like Korean staple of, and the tiger is the national symbol for Korea. And so like the tiger and we actually saw the magpie too at one of the gardens. They're all over the place, minus the hats and the extra eyes. But take a look at this. Is a journal I bought, and I should open it. If you if you look at the music video, the name Golden, you'll see this drawing, and this is depicting the entire universe, essentially. You've got the sun and the moon, you've got the green hills, you've got the waterfalls. All of this is essentially it's depicting the essential like universe of Korea, and the king is kind of in the center of this universe. And so like for Rumi to be operating in this space, it's like it's a power move for her. And so then when I saw this, I was like, oh, I have to get this for Golden, right? A little golden. It's got the kind of thing. And I got these from the National Museum of Korea. But that's just a little bit of the culture of it, which I think makes this movie so special, is how authentic it is. And that when you see and watch the video, you'll see these symbols popping up, but we also have more depth to it. Let's go ahead and go through the lyrics a little bit. We won't read through all the lyrics, but Andy, tell me, at the beginning of this song, what are the things that are catching your eye when you're listening in it with a gospel ear?
Sure. So like the first verse that is sung Like all three of the Huntrix performers are singing different lines in the first verse. And so the stuff that you were just talking about, Sarah, with Rumi being the queen and having this power move and being on the throne. So the opening lines, she sings, "I was a ghost, I was alone," then some Korean that I'm not going to try to pronounce. But then she talks about being given the throne, but not knowing how to believe that she was the queen that she was meant to be. And
Mm,
so in that opening line, it's sort of, and this is sort of the first verse is all about this concept of she's given this title. She's supposed to inherit being the next demon hunter, being the next K-pop star based on being raised by Celine, based on who her mother was, all this stuff. But she didn't know how to believe that she could actually do that stuff. So there's sort of this like self-doubt that's
mm.
immediate in the opening lines. And then the other two, Zoe and Mira, sing very similar things. Zoe talks about being like living two lives and trying to play both sides. And for her, that's like being both American and Korean American and Korean American. Which one am I? Like, I don't know where I fit
Right.
in. I don't know where I belong. And then, as we talked about in an earlier episode, when we get to Mira, she talks about being a problem child. She talks about being too wild for her family, who's very proper. And but through all of this stuff, this song is trying to tell the story of how these three went from those places of self-doubt, those places of feeling like they didn't belong, into finding each other, finding a purpose, and moving forward together. So that's what I sort of see in the opening. What do you see that I missed?
I think that was great. I think what do you see that we miss is that Rumi is not really being true to
Yeah.
herself. That this is actually her song for herself, that she is wanting to be real, but she's not. She's not being
Yeah.
honest with her friends. She's not being honest with her fans. I think she feels like maybe she's not measuring up. This queen that I'm meant to be, she's meant to be a hunter, but she
Hmm.
is, inherited this shame of the patterns from her
Hmm.
demon dad, which and can we also just say, as we're talking about biblical truths and talking about this great story, this is not a Christian analogy
No,
in
not
any
at
way,
all.
shape, or form. We had a comment, I think, on Facebook where someone was like, "How does this work? Demons and human, like, no, no,
Yeah.
like this is a fantasy, but
Yeah.
there's truth in it." Did you see anything like that? Like people being confused about this?
Yeah. And the way that I try to talk to people about it is, C.S. Lewis has this line about how like all myth sort of runs in these like streams that are upriver of the truth. And
Mm,
all myth sort of runs back to the actual truth of the story that we have in the gospel. And so as Sarah and I are like working through this to our fans of the podcast, please understand that we don't
for the
think that
fans.
for the fans. We don't think K-pop Demon Hunters is trying to be Christian necessarily. It's clearly got a lot of Korean folklore and shamanism to it that is
Yeah,
in the background that we are still learning about, and I find a lot of that fascinating. But I'm not trying to pretend like this is a Christian universe. But what I
right.
do see in it is just all of these different, what I call gospel handles, and that's a term
Mm.
I'm stealing from one of my former professors, Rev Rousseau.
Yes, one of my
There's
yes, yes.
there's these things that you see that you can so easily connect to the gospel of Jesus, even if they're from a secular source or from a source of a different religion. Even you can find a way to use those to speak about the gospel. So that's what we're sort of looking for. And I think you're right, Sarah. Like the problem with Golden when it is sung the first time is that it is not true. It's
Mhm.
aspirational.
Yeah, it is.
Rumi is saying, "I'm done hiding," and she's not. She's still hiding, right? So there's something to that where this song cannot work the way that it is meant to until Rumi tells the truth.
Mm.
And we see Golden get played several different times throughout the film. But in the opening sequence when it's played, we get this like cutaway from
Mhm.
Zoe and Mira in one room, and then Rumi's behind a wall, and that's when we get the big reveal that she's part demon, that she has the patterns, and she's hiding that. So, and that's where it goes in subsequent verse.
Yeah. Yeah, when she says, "Waited so long to break these walls down, to wake up and feel like me, put these patterns all in the past now and live like the girl they all see." I mean,
Yeah,
this is the human experience of that disconnect of, especially when we're talking about like daughters and parents and like wanting to live up to patterns set before us in our parents, or the high expectations that we don't know if we can measure up. And it is very aspirational. We're going up, up, up. We're doing all,
Yeah.
we're going to believe, we're going to dream, it's very Disney princessy in that
Yeah.
way of
Yeah.
like a dream is a wish your heart, like we're gonna be, it's gonna
Mhm.
happen. But the reality is there's this disconnect, and she's lying to herself a little when she's saying, no more hiding.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
wants that, but she's actually still hiding that. And I think that's really interesting. And I've been thinking a lot about this song, and I'm also next week I'm giving a chapel talk on Ephesians chapter 2. And I'm playing with this idea of what does it mean to be a child of God?
Mhm.
And what does it mean to be saved by grace?
Mhm.
And how we often sometimes think of grace as material. Like I think it's appropriate to think of it as a gift, right? That's
Yeah.
given. But it's also that favor that God looks at us in love, in our sinfulness, not
Mhm.
in not in our once we're golden or once where patterns are gone, but looks at us as his sinful children and loves us,
Mhm.
and gives us his grace, which is undeserved. It's not
Yeah.
that we've earned it. It's not that we've sealed the honeymoon. It's not that we've hit the charts or beat the Saja boys, but it's that we belong to him, and he gives us this favor. And I love to watch this movie. I think I've now seen it over 10 times, but even more now, I'm having fun watching reactions on YouTube. Do you ever watch
Yes.
YouTube
Yeah. Me
reactions?
too. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have been binging. Actually, on the plane to Ireland, I think I watched 2 hours of people watching the movie, which is
Love it.
I think there could be a side conversation about how patristic authors and commentaries are kind of like are reacting to the Bible. And it's one of the reasons I
That's
think I
good.
love teaching, where I'm reading the Bible with people in a different way and I get to see their reactions. It's fun. But
Yeah.
anyway, Rumi is talking to Celine at the end of the movie when she says, "Look at me," because Celine is not a good mother. Celine is not accepting her for who she is, and I don't think that's the whole point of it, but Celine is saying, "We can do it. We can fix it. We can fix
Yeah.
it. You can do better." And she says, "Why can't you even look at me, all of me?" And
Yeah.
Celine doesn't, but God does. He looks at all of you and says, "You are mine. You're my beloved child." And in baptism, we belong to him. And
Yeah.
I think that's the flip of it. The flip of Celine is a loving father who isn't waiting for us to complete the task, but
Right.
one who actually steps in and cleanses us and calls us through his son, the beloved one, that we get to be made golden because
Mhm.
of what God's favor poured on us. That's kind of what
Right.
I was thinking. Tell me a little bit what you're thinking with golden.
No, that's good. I think that distinction you make is really helpful. Like what Huntrix is up to in the initial singing of Golden is they are trying to make the golden honeymoon. They're trying to make this seal perfect, and they're the ones who are doing it. They are trying to make it. They are trying to perform in such a way that they achieve this elite status of the golden honeymoon. But they can't do it.
Mhm.
And it is not until everything breaks down that things can move forward, and that is helpful. That's one of those gospel handles where it's helpful for us to notice this, where we can try the same things. We can try through our performance to make everything perfect, to earn people's love, to become something through our own actions, but we can never get there. We always will fall short. We have to be made into these things. We cannot earn God's favor. It has to be bestowed on us. It has to be given to us. We cannot earn forgiveness. It has to be given to us. We cannot become golden through our own works. We have to be made golden, if we're
Mhm.
going to take that line through the song. I think the other place that I'll go with this that I found fascinating is they sing golden through the music video early on in the film. And
Right.
then they sing Golden on stage at the music awards, but then it gets cut off and everything
Right.
falls apart. But then it comes up a third time. It comes up in the final song. This is what it
Yes.
sounds like
Yes.
when the fans start singing. they start singing Golden. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you think about through the lens of what we've already talked about, that Rumi was singing it as aspirational at first. But now, like after everything breaks apart and now everything is coming back together, now that she's told the truth, now that she's actually not hiding anymore, the fans can sing that song and it can do what it's sort of supposed to do now that
Mm,
it's true. It can actually build the Hanmoon better than before because it's now not aspirational. It's true.
mm,
Rumi's done hiding. She is shining like she's born to be as this half demon, half human person. So
mm.
I find that to be a compelling, interesting thing that Golden couldn't be the song of the Hanmoon until it was actually true.
That's so good. We get so focused on the law, like on what do I do, right?
Yeah.
Like what do I have to do? I have to be better. I have to make the team. I have to get the good grades. I have to all of these things that I have to do because I'm focused on my performance identity.
Yeah.
And when we're stuck at you can see Rumi's desperation when she's almost there and she feels like I can fix it. I can do, and this, I feel like that is so connected to how we often feel when we're trying to live under the law and how we're trying to exist to earn things. But Ephesians 2 says, no, it's by
Mm-hmm.
grace you have been saved through faith, which is, in case you're thinking that that's something that you do, it is not by our works. It is a gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. So when we so often want to ignore that and want to just try to cling to the old law and say, well, I haven't committed adultery because I'm not married and I've never had an affair. So I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. And we don't realize that's not what it's about
Yeah.
in the Christian life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think most of the times, if we're honest with ourselves, maybe we're not so much like Rumi, but we're maybe even a little more like Celine. Like we
Oh,
want
tell me
to,
more.
we just we want to protect people from everything. We want to
That's
fix everything, and we're willing to sacrifice anything to hide the truth sometimes. And what we don't
mm,
realize is that when we allow the truth to just come forward, it always helps. It always helps. And it's so hard to do that when your performance almost sort of kind of looks like it's working.
mm,
And that's sort of where Huntrix gets stuck, where Rumi gets stuck especially, is like it looks like they're so close. But the reality of that is seen through Rumi when she does speak with her like demonic voice, when that like comes out of her,
mhm.
the Hanmun breaks, and not a little bit. So she's like spent her whole life like singing this Hanmun into existence, singing this shield and barrier into existence. And then with a single word, it can just evaporate from her own
Mm,
mouth. And we can do the same thing. Like we can try and build up all of the works that we want to that are so good, so good, so good. But the reality is we can tumble all those down with a word because we're not perfect. We still make mistakes. And so that gets just back to the reality of sometimes, not even sometimes, always, our salvation has to come from outside. It cannot come from inside. It cannot come from us. It must come from this external source. And for Christians, that external source, of course, is Jesus.
right. I feel I need to sit in that being like Celine because I think that's really true. Like as a
Yeah.
mother, as a teacher, I do try whoops. I do want to be, as a teacher, something I like to do is look for moments where I've made a mistake so I can ask for forgiveness because
Mm,
I think that I even have a little on my door, a little like I think a lot of students are afraid to make mistakes at all. And that's
yeah.
not just that's not the world we live in. But when I make a mistake, like I'm terrible sometimes at I'll mess up a grade. And
Hmm.
that's not cool. Like
Yeah.
that's not good. I need to apologize and make that right. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And so it is good to kind of like hold on a second. How many times have I tried to make things seem nice without acknowledging the truth of the pain that people are going
Mm,
in? Because I just want it to seem nice. I'm an oldest daughter. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I think that's part of our game is that we just want everyone to be nice and it becomes very controlling and manipulative and frustrating. So,
Hmm.
thank goodness there's forgiveness for even someone like me, or someone like Celine.
Hmm.
I'm so curious if we will get a pre-story of Celine or a post-story,
Yeah,
because what happens with that lady, you know? And, like, I think that's kind of she's a fascinating character.
I agree. And I think we will get her. I think we will get a redemption story for her, honestly.
You think?
Yeah. Like, I don't think you have said that you think she's like the main villain in the show. And she sort of comes off that way in this film. But for those of you who don't know, there's at least two other K-pop Demon Hunters films planned. So we'll get some story. We're not sure what it is yet. But I think Celine will have some part to play in that, and we will see why she is doing what she is doing. And I'll
Mm.
save that for our, like,
You wanna have the
questions and
conspiracy theory?
conspiracy theory time, because I have some
Well,
thoughts.
I'm
But
gonna sprinkle one in. This is one
okay,
that I
go.
saw. I did not come up with this, but I think it was on one of the reactions that I watched that was speculating if Celine, was trying to kill Rumi's dad, and that did she kill Rumi's mom on accident? I was
That
like,
could
"Ooh!"
be. That could be. Yep.
That would be, but that is conspiracy theories. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Good times.
So, what does the gospel sound like in Golden? Like when we're looking at this song and we're talking about going up, up, up as a Psalms, like I've been like really living in the Psalms.
Hmm.
I will say, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a psalm of ascent. Like we're going up into
Yeah.
going to the great place. But what are some of the gospel handles as we're singing this in the car? We're listening with the kids. We're dropping them to school, and I want them to know that they are loved by God. What is a good gospel takeaway when we hear these words that we can frame it in a way that reminds us of Christ?
Yeah, I think taking it as you mentioned baptism before, the line that keeps coming up in this song is, that's who we're born to be.
Yeah.
And I think the way that I would tend to think of this is who we are reborn to be. This is who we are
Mm,
born to be as children of God, and it is a gift that is given to us. We're
mm.
going up, up, up. It's our moment, but you have to make sure you're not making it your own work of your moment, but rather it's a moment where you are being brought up, 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 not a moment where you are rising up, up, up under your own power, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So I think if you can think of this song in that way a little bit, just twist it, not twist it, but just adjust it ever so slightly so that you think of it as, it's God that is raising you up, up, up out of the waters of baptism to make you who he has designed you to be as his child made in his image. Then, yeah, you are meant to be golden. You are meant to be his beloved child.
The opposite of that, I think, is the story of Christ who comes down, down,
Down,
down,
down, down.
where
Yeah.
he enters into humanity. He enters into this brokenness and he knows the brokenness and the shattered glass and the jagged edges and
Hmm.
has lived that and takes that into himself in all the sin into himself on the cross and pays that debt for us out of his great love for us. And
Yeah.
that is a golden moment too. Who we're born to be, we're in class, we're going through the Gospel of John. I can't help but think of Nicodemus, who's trying to
Mm.
figure out
Hmm.
what Jesus is all about and trying to understand this concept of being born again and being born. And Jesus talks about this, you must be born again, and this light in the darkness moment with Nicodemus. We have in Christ a new identity and a new birth,
Hmm.
like a new birth where we are made whole, and in the name of Jesus we are brought into his family through baptism. This is a beautiful way to think of it. So
Hmm.
maybe a good baptismal remembrance as we're listening to Golden and remembering it, that Jesus came down and that we are given this new birth in Christ. That sounds like very much a gospel.
Yeah. And just one more quick thing,
Okay.
it's together.
Mm.
Together we're glowing, right? It's not alone, which is important to other things. we are made part of the family of Christ together. We're not alone. And I think that's also a big piece of being a Christian, being a baptized child of God, is that you're not in it alone, that you are with others who have also been baptized into Christ and raised with him in baptism.
There is a lot for us to learn from this this Korean culture is very infused with the community and
Hmm.
the you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
that kind of it's a very important theme. Why it resonates so well is it's so true about that kind of community. And I think that as Western Christians, I think we often get as American Christians focused on an individual. And that is really not a Lutheran way of viewing what it means to be in the community of believers. And if we're getting biblical, we do, I think it benefits us to think about how this is a we thing, that it's not me and
Hmm.
Jesus, and it's not me and my alone time, but that we are being brought into a community to serve one another. And that's really, and when we do that, we're golden. Okay, well, that's fun. Well, I hope that we get to listen to Golden some more. I hope we get to hear it, like, at the O will it be an Oscar? Could that be an Oscar? Or, like, people
It's
are saying
possible.
song of the summer. How is this not the song of the summer, honestly?
It probably is. Yeah.
It
I think it
probably
is.
is. Well, this is what the gospel sounds like. It sounds like our baptism and our hope in Christ. It's gonna be golden. All right, thanks. Please, listen, let us know what else you wanna talk about. We are gonna keep, recording a few more episodes, so if you have any ideas, please share them with us, and thank you for listening.